All set.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I would like to call to order the meeting of the Winchton Board of Selectmen on Monday, April 13th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. If you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
to the flag of the United States of America,
and
to
to
the
the
republic
republic
for which it
which stands
stands,
one
one
nation
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice for
justice for
all.
all.
Thank you. I will read the introduction to remote meetings. First up, I'm going to confirm member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Audie LeBrie, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. You're going to write your names down every time. Rick.
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Barbara.
Aye.
And Chair is present. Staff members, I believe we have two staff members with us this evening, Town Manager Keith Hickey
Aye.
and Executive Assistant Linda Daigle.
Aye.
I have no anticipated speakers on the agenda items. If anyone does wish to speak, please just make your wishes known. So good evening. This open meeting of the Board of Selectmen is being conducted remotely with the Governor Baker's recent executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been asked and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Board of Selectmen is convening by video conference via Zoom meeting ID number 510-406-680, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the using the posted agenda unless otherwise noted. A few ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, Chair will go down the line of members, inviting each name to provide comment, questions, or motions. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in dialogue with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items of public comment, after the person has spoken, the chair will report public comment as follows. The chair will ask first members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. and they will be called on, each by name, and afforded time to speak. Finally, each vote taken at this meeting will be conducted by roll call. And is there anyone out there other than Town Hall who is audio or video recording this evening? Please just make yourself known. Thank you. Seeing and hearing none. We turn to Selectmen's comments. Rick, can we start, Mr. Ward, can we start with you tonight?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just want to point out that in response to the COVID-19, the municipal town election scheduled for May 4th, 2020 has been postponed. The new date has not been determined yet, but is expected to take place before June 30th, 2020. In an effort to protect voters and election workers from social contact, we're encouraging all registered voters to apply for an early ballot to be mailed to them. The early ballot application can be found on the town clerk's page. Once you print and fill these out, they can be sent to the town clerk's office. They can be deposited in the drop box in front of Town Hall, and they can be emailed. All of that information will be on the website. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Salter, anything this evening?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Barbaro?
Sure, Madam Chair. The federal census, your response counts helps for the community to receive federal funding. You can go to www.my2020census.gov. Everyone counts. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to fill out online. And click start the questionnaire. Either enter the code you receive in the mail or click. I do not have a census ID, but everyone who lives in your house, be counted by April 1st. Well, it's past April 1st, as of April 1st. Secondly, I just want to remind people to call your neighbor. If you have an elderly neighbor, please ask them if they need anything at the store. It's very important that our seniors stay away from people. They are the most vulnerable to this disease, and it's not very, does not treat them very well. And I'd like to just thank our first responders for everything they do, because without them, we'd be in a world of hurt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barbaro. Mrs. Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The due dates for real estate taxes, personal property taxes, water and sewer bills have been deferred. Late last week, the Massachusetts State Legislature passed municipal relief legislation. This legislation provides communities the authority to defer due dates. To assist taxpayers during this challenging time, real estate and personal property taxes typically due on May 1st will now be due on June 1st, and the deadline to apply for exemptions on taxes has been extended from April 1st to June 1st. Additionally, interest and penalties have been waived on any property or excise tax, betterment, assessment, water or sewer bill with a due date on or after March 10th, 2020, if the payment is made by June 30, 2020. Hopefully, extending the dates taxes are due and waiving the interest will provide some relief to those impacted by the
Thank you very much. And I have a couple. The Earth Day cleanup, originally scheduled for April 25th, has been postponed. A date has not yet been determined for that cleanup to happen, so we will keep everyone posted and let you know when we get that rescheduled. You may have noticed that we are currently flushing the hydrants through the month of April. Water may appear discolored due to flushing, so just run your faucet until the water turns to a clear color. Any questions, please don't hesitate to contact Town Hall. The Montechusett Public Health Network has announced a new COVID-19 hotline. If you have any questions about the public issue, it is the number is 1-844-968-3323. And you can get some more information, or if you go online, the Montechusett Public Health Network, and you could probably find some information there as well. That's all the formal announcements. Everyone is doing well. as we work our way through this rather unusual time. I woke up this morning, says, oh, it's nice, it's a rainy day, and it's a Monday, good day to just stay home and go up on the couch and read a book. And I thought, wait a minute, I've been doing that for the last 3 weeks. So it's nothing really special, but we'll get through it. Are there any public comments? Anyone who is logged in wishes to make a public comment? Thank you. We have no public hearings tonight. Appointments and resignations, nothing specific. I do just want to run down our list of notice of vacancies of what we have open at this time within the town. As of April 13th, 2020, we acknowledge the following vacancies. If you're interested in serving on one of the boards or committees, please submit a letter of interest to the Board of Selectmen, 109 Front Street, Department 1. And you can find the forms online at townofwinton.com/board-selectmen. It's an online link. So Communications Committee is working on providing local cable access to our residents. Conservation Commission, there is 1 vacancy. We worked under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Cultural Council, we currently have 11 vacancies. Grassroots Cultural Funding Network, they have a lot of activities going on, concerts, festivals, features, etc. Field Viewer Fence Driver, we have 1 vacancy. Open Space Preservation Appraisal and or Survey Revolving Fund Advisory Committee, there is 1 vacancy. Recreation Commission, 1 regular member vacancy and 2 student vacancies. And the commission is active in public recreation, holding various things throughout the year for the town community. Winchton Community Park Committee, formerly the Ingleside Utilization Committee, has 5 vacancies at the moment. Work to develop the property, a plan, and the Zoning Board of Appeals, there are 2 alternate vacancies. So again, any of those that sound like you might be interested, even just getting some more information on them, please don't hesitate to reach out to town manager, and we'll be glad to get you what you need. Okay, under permit license applications, we have 3 junk dealer secondhand article license renewals on our agenda this evening. 1 is not yet ready to be presented before us, and that is Ed's Scrap Metal. So we will take that off the agenda for this evening, and we'll bring that back when that isn't completed for us to deal with. So we do have 2. We have Daniel Brewer, 900 Lincoln Avenue, and Patty's Jewelry Incorporated, Sherry Ermeyer at 15 Central Street. So these are annual license renewals that they have to receive from the town. The applications are in your drop boxes. There were no issues from department heads. This just gives them the license to deal with secondhand articles. Any questions or comments from the board?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if there are no questions, I move that we approve the junk dealer secondhand articles license renewals effective at May 1st, 2020 for the following: Daniel Brewer, 900 Lincoln Ave, and Patty's Jewelers, Sherry Meyer, 15 Central Street.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it's Barbara, I will second that.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mr. Barbaro, seconded by Mrs. Anderson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, roll call vote, my apologies. Rick,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Barbara,
Aye.
and Audrey votes aye. Thank you very much. Under the same permit license application, we have a request We had approved a toll booth on boot drive for the Friends of Old Murdoch, originally scheduled for May 30th, 2020. They have requested that we approve a change of date due to the current COVID-19 emergency, virus emergency, and they'd like to move to Saturday, September 5th, 2020. Open this up for comments from the board.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mike?
We have some other ones outstanding too that are coming up. I believe at this time it wouldn't be prudent to approve any of them and to cancel the ones we have until such time as we are set to relax the social distancing rule and the state is in a better place for us to have people out on the streets at this time.
Thank you. Anyone else have thoughts, questions?
Madam Chair, I think
Yes.
my question is this Labor Day weekend?
September 5th.
Madam Chair?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
And
Okay.
did we get approval from the police chief and fire chief to move it to this time?
That I don't know. Mr. Hickey, can you answer that, or can Mrs. Daigle answer that?
We have not received permission from either the police or fire chief at this time.
Okay.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Yes, Mrs. Warren.
It's Mo Ward. I made the application on behalf of Friends of the Senior Center. I figured by the end of May, end of June rather, we should know better whether we'll be opened up. At that time, I will go to the police chief and ask him whether he has any objections. Usually the Friday and the Monday are the busy days on the highway. Saturday, folks are already at their holiday destination. So in the past, that hasn't been a problem, but if it is, we'll certainly come back to you. And to Mike's point, if by that time we aren't opened up, we will just cancel it for the year. We don't want our members out there in harm's way either.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Rick.
Yeah, just if we're going to cancel these until further notice, we probably should contact North County Pop Warner Football. They're the only other ones that we've approved. And let them know, because theirs is coming up on May 9th, and somebody from Town Hall should contact them and tell them they can resubmit later on down the year.
Okay, thank you for, I knew they were coming up, but I couldn't remember the date.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we need to make a motion to cancel them at this time.
Do we have a motion to cancel the 2 boot drives that we currently have scheduled due to the existing situation? And to contact, well, we have one representative here, and to contact the other one, let them know and ask them to come before us at a later date to get a new date.
What would that later date be?
I don't know if we could,
That's why we
I
requested,
don't, yeah.
that's why we requested September, because we could be away and then the senior center will miss out. And we've always been the first to come before you and have all our paperwork in order. So, you know, we have to sit and watch each week. That's kind of putting a burden on everyone. We're not going to go ahead with it if it's not safe.
Madam Chair?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor,
No, we don't.
so unless I get a second, it will die for lack of a second, or we can,
There we
when
go.
you get a second, it will move forward for further discussion. So the current motion is to cancel the 2 currently scheduled boot drives and come together at a later date, later unknown date, to revisit this and perhaps reschedule.
Madam Chair, it's Barbara. I'll second that.
Okay, so we do have a motion and it's been seconded. Okay, discussion,
Madam Chair,
comments, yes, Mike?
why don't we schedule this for the first meeting in June to bring these issues back up? That way we can have a set schedule for everybody, and at that time we should have a better idea where we stand.
Okay, so your suggestion would be if this motion passes this evening, bring it to our first meeting in June as an agenda item to revisit it?
Madam Chair? Yes, that's
Yes.
what I'm asking.
Okay, Mike, thank you. So that is a motion, it has been seconded. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Ward.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, really, you're not going to have any food drives until the governor lifts the stay-at-home quarantine. So, I don't think that's going to be lifted in 2 weeks or another week. So, somehow, it needs to be that, we're not going to, no food drive is going to be approved until that quarantine has been lifted.
Okay, thank you.
Once it's been lifted, then they can all be approved.
Okay, thank you. The motion as it is before us is just to revisit it
We can.
and then, Mike, I don't think as part of your motion, you had put on the agenda for our first meeting in June. Would you want to make that part of the motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to amend my motion to add that language to it.
Is the maker, second person of who seconded, okay with that amendment? That was Barbara.
Yes.
Thank you. So the motion before us is to cancel the 2 boot drives that we currently have scheduled and to put an article addressing boot drives on our agenda for our first meeting in June to see where we are, see if things have been approved, and move forward from there. Any further discussion? All right, I will take a vote. Mike?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we'll definitely be in touch. Hopefully by then we'll have a better sense of when things are going to open up again a bit.
Thank you. I've already emailed Linda to be on your agenda for June 1st.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have no department committee reports this evening. We have no new business. We have no old business. We are up to town manager's report. Mr. Hickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A lot of my report has already been shared by members of the board through your announcements. But just to reiterate, for those who may be interested, our property taxes that were normally due on May 1st are now due on June 1st to give everybody about a month's more notice to pay. The penalties and interest have been waived on all property and excise tax, betterment assessments in water and sewer bills that were due on or after March 10th. They're due now on June 30th to give everybody a little bit of a break. As far as our fiscal 20 budget goes, there is an anticipated shortfall in health insurance in the snow and ice accounts, and there's also an unknown impact at this point on the COVID-19 budget. So I did place a spending and hiring freeze effective April 8th. All department heads are required now to submit a purchase order request for anything $500 or more, and those need my approval as we move forward through June. The health insurance over expenditure is about $118,000, and that's due to having more people sign up for our new health insurance policy than we expected. The fiscal 21 budget has been adjusted to reflect the appropriate numbers, and the snow and ice approval, over expenditures is just about $18,000. We should be able to cover both of those overages as well as all of the other ones, with the exception of the COVID situation, because that's unknown, through other unexpended appropriations in our budget that will need transfers in front of the board sometime in May and June. There's no personnel updates. Just so the board's aware, again, it was mentioned earlier, the town clerk, Wendy Stevens, is working with her Town Clerks Association and the Secretary of State to provide every opportunity available for people to vote this spring. Whether you vote absentee or early voting, those opportunities are there for you. If there's other options that may become available to voters, we'll certainly publicize those and make people aware of those as changes in the law move forward. The board may recall that our former town clerk, Judy LaJoy, applied for a Robinson Broadhurst grant to update the town charter and town bylaws to have them have accurate references to state law. We received the first draft of that last week. This has been a project that's been 2 years in the works. Staff is now reviewing both documents to make sure that they're accurate and current. We'll need to bring those documents to all the different boards and commissions that those documents make reference to get their review and approval. And then at some point, probably at the fall town meeting, after all the boards and commissions have had an opportunity to review the documents and their sections of the documents, we need to bring those back to town meeting for reapproval. And then lastly, I did attend a virtual legislative forum last Friday with the Greater Chamber of Commerce in Gardner. Senator Goby and Representative Zlotnick spoke addressing the business needs of our region during this COVID-19 virus. And lastly, I also invited the board to participate in a roundtable discussion on the state finances. I believe it's tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. I sent an email out today to the board members for that, so if you're interested in participating in that, I will be participating in that as well, hopefully to get a sense of where things stand. I did speak to Representative Zlotnick earlier today, who feels fairly confident that the state budget won't be approved until after sometime in July. So this is going to be some uncharted waters for a lot of us, and we'll work together to try to address our budget needs moving forward, and it may mean the town meeting is delayed into July as well without state numbers. So that's a decision the board will have to make at some point. So we'll keep the board updated on what's happening and provide the information you need to make decisions moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the town manager on his report?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Barbaro.
Hey, Keith, the state has declared an emergency, and I know the Board of Health has been busy with some ongoing issues. Are we able to bill that through that and some of the ambulance calls that are going to go through that because of that situation?
The accounting department is tracking all of our COVID-19 pandemic-related expenses in a separate account. Because there's an emergency, state of emergency out there, we hope to be reimbursed up to 75% of what those expenses are. Those expenses, in all likelihood, won't or may not cover some of the ambulance expenses because we do collect a revenue on those. But certainly, any extra time that police and fire are having to work, or any expenses the Board of Health or our health director is dealing with, our health agent, those will certainly be billed out, and we hope to get those reimbursements back in at some point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Keith, how are we doing on our PPE for all of our first responders and people who are out there fighting this?
Yeah, thanks.
Able to keep everybody supplied?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I talked to Chief Smith this afternoon. We have ample supply right now of all protective equipment for our employees, depending on what happens with the surge, if there is one, and the supplies. There may be challenges in the future, but so far with the work of some of our first responders being able to find some protective equipment, the National Guard delivering some protective equipment to us a couple of times now, we are in good shape as we sit here today.
Okay, good, that's good to hear. Thank you. Anything further for the town manager on his report?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Ward?
Yeah, not necessarily for the town manager, but I just want to put out to the public. I noticed in the paper today, it said that the selectmen had voted to make the town election on June 13th and the town meeting on June 29th. I just want everybody to know out there, the selectmen have not voted on any date at this time, and so just forget that.
Thank you.
Information.
Thank you for that correction. Yeah, I believe we discussed the potential of some dates.
That's the potential, but we haven't decided.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. All right. If nothing else, we'll move on to our minutes. We have 2 sets before us this evening. The first set is on Monday, March 30th, 2020, regular meeting. As amended, there was a date change that was updated on that.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Barbaro,
I'd like to approve the minutes as presented this evening,
as amended.
as amended.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Motion made and seconded to approve Monday, March 30th as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Sorry, not Rick.
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
Barbara.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. And then we had one second set, Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. It was a special meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Ward.
I move the Board of Selectmen approve the minutes of Thursday, April 2nd, 2020.
Thank you. Second.
As
Second.
amended.
Actually, there was no amendment to April 2nd. Okay, thank you. And did I hear a second?
Yep, Michael.
Mike, thank you. So motion made to approve April 2nd meetings made by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Barbaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's aye. Mike?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you very much. No communications. Our next meeting is, my phone went to sleep. April 27th is our next regular scheduled meeting, Monday, April 27th at 6:30. There's no executive session this evening. Anything further from the board?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Barbaro?
I move for adjournment.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Barbaro to adjourn, seconded by Mrs. Anderson. All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry. Darn. Rick?
Aye.
Looking at me. Mike?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are adjourned at 7:04. Take care, everyone.